The reason some people shatter under pressure while others thrive isn't luck, it's a learned skill. You're not fragile, you just haven't installed the right cognitive armor. We'll show you the 7 non-negotiable mental steps that guarantee you bounce back stronger from any crisis.
Okay, let's really land on this because this idea is the key to everything we're about to cover. So many of us think that resilience is just something you're born with, right? You either have it or you don't. But that's just not true. Mental resilience is a system. Think of it like software you can literally install in your brain to upgrade how you handle stress. Strength isn't a trait, it's a skill you can build, starting today.
So here's our game plan for this masterclass. First, we're going to look at the resilience paradox. Then, we need to identify the real enemy here, something called emotional hijacking. After that, we get to the good stuff, installing the 7-step armor system. We'll dig into the science of why this works, and then I'll give you a super practical 3-step action plan to get started. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with the one mindset you need to master this for good.
All right, before we can build any armor, we've got to know exactly what we're fighting against. There's this invisible force that messes up our ability to recover when things go wrong. It's called emotional hijacking, and it's what leads to a total cognitive collapse. Let's break down what's actually happening inside your brain.
It all kicks off the second a high-stress event happens. And look, this can be anything, right? A tough piece of feedback from your boss, a project that just completely bombs, a heated argument, you name it. The specific event isn't what matters. What matters is your brain's immediate, hardwired reaction to it. The very first thing that happens is your amygdala. That's the ancient, primitive part of your brain. It just takes over. It's like the smoke detector for your mind, and it starts screaming, "Threat! Threat! Danger!" It doesn't do nuance, it's built for speed and survival, and its main job is to bypass rational thought entirely. And once that alarm bell is ringing, your system gets flooded with stress hormones, the big one being cortisol. Think of this as the jet fuel for your fight or flight response. It makes you hyper-alert, sure, but it has one devastating side effect on our ability to think clearly. It hijacks the whole system. And this is the most critical moment. That flood of cortisol effectively shuts down your prefrontal cortex. That's the sophisticated, modern part of your brain. It's the CEO, the part that handles logic, planning, and control. And when it goes offline, well, your ability to problem solve and see the big picture just vanishes. So, what's the real cost here? When your prefrontal cortex is offline, you're left with nothing but raw, unfiltered emotion. This is when we start spiraling, catastrophizing, and just getting stuck. The real damage isn't the setback itself, it's the time we lose. It's the hours, the days, maybe even weeks wasted before our rational mind finally gets back in the driver's seat. That lost time is the enemy we're building armor against. Okay, now that we've properly diagnosed the problem, let's get to the solution. The 7-step armor system is basically a psychological immune system. Its entire job is to interrupt that stress cycle we just talked about, keeping your prefrontal cortex online so you can think and act strategically instead of just reacting emotionally. These 7 pillars are the absolute non-negotiables of that system. Let's walk through them. Number 1, cognitive restructuring. This is all about changing the story you tell yourself. It's asking, what can I learn from this, instead of, why is this happening to me? Number 2, emotional awareness. This is the skill of hitting the pause button. You name the feeling, anger, fear, whatever, to tame it. It gives you that split second to choose your response. Number 3, social support. This is your personal advisory board, the people who give you perspective when you've lost yours. It's a biological shield against stress. 4, realistic optimism. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's a disciplined focus on what you can actually control and accepting what you can't. 5, a sense of purpose. This is your why. It's the anchor that makes any single failure feel like a data point, not a destination. 6, physical health. Your brain is a physical organ. Sleep, nutrition, exercise. This is non-negotiable maintenance to keep your stress hormones in check. And finally, number 7, self-efficacy training. This is about building undeniable proof that you're capable. It's stacking small wins, day after day, until you believe you can handle anything. Now, all 7 are crucial, but 2 of them are your absolute frontline defense. The first is cognitive restructuring. This is your active weapon against that emotional hijack. It's the conscious act of taking that first catastrophic thought and challenging it. Instead of seeing failure as a final judgment, you reframe it as just data. This one move short-circuits the panic signal and keeps your problem-solving brain in the game. It's a total game changer. The second high-leverage pillar is physical health. This is the biological foundation for your mental strength. Look, you simply cannot win a psychological battle if your own biology is fighting against you. Consistent sleep and regular exercise aren't just nice-to-haves, they are your primary tools for managing cortisol. A body that's well-rested and physically active just recovers from that stress flood faster. That means your prefrontal cortex comes back online quicker, slashing that recovery time.
So that's the what, the 7 pillars. But let's get into the why. What's actually happening inside our brains that makes this system so powerful? Because this isn't just about positive thinking, it's about building real biological defenses.
This whole system works because of 3 core mechanisms. First, it literally strengthens your emotional regulation. Things like cognitive restructuring build a stronger connection between your rational brain and your alarm system, giving you more control. Second, it builds an anti-fragile shield. You learn to see setbacks not as failures, but as information. You don't just bounce back, you bounce back stronger. And third, it actively manages cortisol. Things like physical health and social support create a biological buffer, a shock absorber that helps you recover way faster.
All right, enough theory. This is where the rubber meets the road. Knowledge is great, but it's useless without action. So let's get into the most important part of this whole explainer, your concrete 3-step action plan to start installing this armor today. Here are your first 3 missions. Number 1 is the cognitive defense drill. That's how you practice pillar 1. Number 2, you're going to install biological anchors, putting pillars 5 and 6 into action. And number 3 is the daily small wins log, which is your training ground for pillar 7, self-efficacy. Let's break down exactly how you do each one.
Okay, first up, the cognitive defense drill. Here's how it works. On the left, you see that runaway catastrophic thought, right? This is a disaster. I'll never recover. That's your amygdala talking. Your drill is to immediately pivot to the strategic reframe on the right. Ask yourself 2 powerful questions. What is the objective evidence against this thought? And what can I control right now? This forces your rational brain to wake up, it breaks the emotional spiral, and it puts you back into problem-solving mode.
Next up, installing your biological anchors. This is so simple, but it's incredibly powerful. For your physical anchor, pick one thing and lock it in. For example, commit to a fixed bedtime for the next 7 days straight. No excuses. This stabilizes your biology. For your purpose anchor, take 5 minutes, write down your core purpose, your why, and stick it somewhere you'll see it every day. During a setback, this becomes your North Star.
And finally, drill number 3, the daily small wins log. This is your foundation for building self-efficacy, that core belief that you can handle things. At the end of every day, just take 2 minutes. Write down 3 small victories. Could be anything. You nailed a workout. You handled a tough conversation well. You resisted a distraction. You're building a library of evidence that proves you are capable, creating a reserve of confidence you can tap into when things get tough.
So, we've covered the problem, the system, the science behind it, and the action plan. Let's bring this all home with the single most important lesson from this whole masterclass. This is the mindset you need to really own this skill.
This is the bottom line. You are not a fixed object. You're an adaptable system that can be upgraded. So stop waiting for life to throw you a curveball to see how you'll react. Start actively training. Start installing the armor that ensures you will come back stronger from whatever happens. You have total control, total agency over your own mental fortitude.
Which brings us to our final mandate. Knowing this stuff is one thing. Doing it is everything. So I have a direct challenge for you. From everything we just covered, the 7 pillars, the 3 drills, what is the one step you will commit to for the next 7 days? Just one. Pick it and make it non-negotiable. Prove to yourself that this is a skill you can master.
So let's wrap this up. Mental resilience is the solution to emotional collapse and the long, painful recovery times that come with it. And why this all matters is that it gives you a systematic way to become anti-fragile, to not just survive stress, but to actually grow from it. When you practice cognitive restructuring and you install those biological anchors, you are literally down-regulating your brain's stress response and building proof of your own capability. And always remember, productivity isn't about doing more. It's about mastering the internal systems that make focus, clarity, and strength truly effortless.